Rapidly intensifying Darby becomes the first major hurricane of the season. The Pacific hurricane season is certainly looking healthy at the moment, with Hurricane Darby, surprisingly for some, intensifying rapidly to Category 3 status, and a strong one at that. National Hurricane Center suggests that it may even be a conservative estimate. Currently at 14.6 degrees north, 123.7 degrees west. There it is right now, Category 3 on the Saffir-Simpson scale, just 5 miles per hour short of Category 4 status, with a pressure of 965 millibars and winds of 125 miles per hour, moving west at 18 miles per hour, exactly 270 degrees true. Here it is right now, displayed on the map as of 6 AM Hawaiian Standard Time, this July 11th. A very, very small wind field despite its strength, and it's expected to continue on the west-northwest movement fairly soon. It is currently 2,098 miles from Hilo, Hawaii, 2195 from Kahului, 2233 from Molokai, 2287 from Honolulu, and 2388 from Lihue. A long way from any land areas right now, so at least there is no threat from this powerful storm. With further intensification likely, according to the National Hurricane Center, they're expecting a peak of 140 miles per hour before it starts on a weakening trend. Let's take a look at its potential hazards, and in fact there are none. 20 land areas, it's so far away from anything. 12-foot seas though extend outwards as far as 105 nautical miles in the northeastern quadrant. So any sea interests out there and shipping are obviously going to have a pretty raw deal with this storm, but it is so small it should be extremely easy to avoid. Anyway, let's take a look at its forecast then over the next few days. Throughout the course of this week, you can see it sailing towards the west-northwest, its wind field remaining very small throughout really, maybe increasing just a little bit towards the end of the week, but then starting to die off as the storm does. And there's the Hawaiian Islands getting into shot on Friday, and what's left of this storm will pass towards the south of the islands by the weekend. National Hurricane Center's forecast cone is over there, and it's showing that major hurricane surviving for quite a bit longer. ADT estimates already have this in the Category 4 range, and that is expected to continue to rise. So we could see 130, 140 miles per hour later today, and we'll probably do another video if that happens, I suppose. But that's the current forecast right now, and that small wind field, it will be long gone by the time it gets anywhere close to Hawaii. And there, for just confirmation, is the potential chances for tropical storm conditions. The outermost line contour there is the 5% mark, and so Hawaii is well out of that. I don't think there's much else to say regarding that cone there. And this is what the GFS model is showing. Obviously it's really underselling the storm's current intensity and its forecast, but this is more to see what happens later on. You can see it there maintaining tropical storm status and then losing it just as it approaches Hawaii. GFS thinks that it could still get breezy though on the southern part of the Big Island. Just have another look there. You don't see the remnants of Bonnie moving through. You'll feel its influence in Hawaii just a little bit, but you'll feel it even more from Darby. But it'll only produce 20 to 25 mile per hour winds, a slight drop in air pressure, but there could be some substantial rainfall yet. We can't rule that out just yet. Here you can take a look at the moisture plumes of these systems. See Bonnie's influence a little bit better there, and of course you can see Darby's influence, still that tropical storm there, and then that green area about to sweep through Hawaii. There it goes, so you'll feel its moisture. Having another look at that, I guess we're passing the time. This is our usual format, so I would skip along at this point, but you can see that once again, the storm moving along to the west-northwest and then curving westwards as it reaches Hawaii. And now to take a look at the actual rainfall estimates that you might see on those islands and where it comes from. So of course way out to sea this storm will be delivering 9-10 inches of rain in some areas over water. Hawaii gets a little bit of rain before this storm actually, so it will only add on a small bit to the totals in Hawaii. But in the next 7 days across the islands, you can see there on the eastern part of the Big Island, you're looking at around 3 inches of rainfall, topped up by this storm. Only Darby itself will only deliver about half an inch probably, and about 1 inch there on Kauai on the western part of the island chain. So interesting to see, but it's not going to be a major event. Sea surface temperatures overlaid on the cone of this storm, and you can see they're fairly warm at the moment, around 27 degrees Celsius, and that will remain the case for the next day or two, and then it will start to drop off rather quickly. Just wait to see those temperatures in the immediate cone. As you can see, it's much cooler to the north, but just ahead of it, 26, 25 by the time we get to day 3, and that will obviously start to take its toll on the storm eventually as it starts to weaken and lose its warm core. A look once again at the forecast intensity for Darby. Now let's overlay some satellite imagery and take that off from the National Hurricane Center's cone. And we've got it in all its splendor there, looking very good on the infrared imagery. Let's get a little close up on it then. So this is what Darby looks like coming into this morning. We're just getting first visibles as well, so we'll show you that in a moment. But there it is on the infrared. Let's go to the mesoscale so that we can get a proper look at what it's been doing in the last few hours. And there it is, intensifying still quite rapidly, likely to become a category 4 storm very shortly, if not already, like satellite estimates are suggesting. Let's see if we can get some visible imagery from this source. There it is, some early images of how the storm is looking on that visible. We're only just starting to get those images. Let's see if we can take a look at the cirrus enhancement, which is usually a better indicator. And there it is. Once again, very symmetrical, fantastic looking eye. Add onto the water vapor. There's another fantastic look at the storm. Very high cloud tops all around there, as you can clearly see. And let's see if we can take a look at one of the other enhancements. This one, the sandwich and visible enhancement there. Looking at this storm, fantastic complexion. A very photogenic but small hurricane that appears to still be intensifying at this point in time. Let's see if we can get some true color on its own. And there is some latest images looking fantastic there once again, very deep all the way down to the bottom there through the eye. A really sensational hurricane that could still be on the intensification trend and could well be underrated. There's no observations, there's no recon flights, anything to that effect. It is way out there over the open ocean, so it's got a long way to go before we get any inclination of how strong it was during this time, and we'll probably never know from direct observations. But that is Darby, a very surprising turn of events to this Pacific hurricane season. Let's see if we can just get one more view that we can look at. There's another one. And that marks a rather raucous start to July after Bonnie in the Eastern Pacific. We'll have more updates on this storm as necessary.